Yes, everybody, welcome to the Talk of the Town podcast. I'm your host, Andy Burrows, and yes, I'm actually back doing a full podcast with my co-host, good friend, and Dunstable Town Vice Chairman, Mr. Matty Carrington. Matty, it's been a while, mate. How the devil are you?
Yeah, not so bad. It has been a while. I'm going to try and have to remember how to do this, but can't grumble too much. How about yourself?
No, I'm good, mate. I'm good. I think I'm over my jet lag. For those that see me
You
at
looked rough
yeah, for
yesterday.
those that see me at the Harpenden game yesterday, I had literally got off a plane from Washington DC and come straight to the game. But yeah, obviously we've been doing shows with Steve and post games and pre games and everything. But me and you haven't, for whatever reason, we haven't been able to sit down and do an actual show. So we're back now doing these on a weekly basis, hopefully, mate. We're a few games into the season now here at Dunstable Town under Steve O'Reilly and the boys' regime. How are we reflecting so far, Matty? I've got a few thoughts on it, mate. Obviously, we've interviewed Steve countless times. We're getting to know the lads more and more as the weeks and days go on. But let me get your views, mate. Obviously, part of the decision process, you were there appointing Steve and the boys. How are you assessing it as we sit here, as we head towards mid-September?
Yeah, I mean, ideally, I don't think any of us wanted to be in this position that we're in terms of the league position. Um, through one reason or the other. Obviously, there's been some disruption behind the scenes caused by others, but that doesn't deflect from the fact that obviously, unfortunately, we find ourselves, was it 13th position at this current time. However, saying that, it's still early days. We're still in the FA Vars. I think we're what 10 points off playoffs at this current time. So I'm not sitting here with doom and gloom. Would I want more points? Yes. Would I want us to win every single game that we played? Yes. But that's football. I mean, it comes down to the fact that at this level of football that Steve was alluding to yesterday on his post match for you, that um, in the Spartan League and Step Five in general, the team that capitalises on the mistakes of the opposition in the main ends up with the 3 points. And unfortunately, at this time, through learnings and everything like that, we haven't been able to capitalise mainly on other people's mistakes, but we are improving. I think this time last month, everyone was on Twitter saying how, oh, this is all going Pete Tong, everything like that. And yeah, we stayed the course and we started getting a couple of wins. Yeah, disappointed we didn't win last night, but it's still all about learning at its current stage. And Steve and the guys, and the team as a whole, they've all learned from the mistakes that they've made so far. And I still have a lot of pleasure going and watching the games. Albeit not watching the actual results, but yeah, it's one of those at its current time. This isn't a 2 week project. This is a long term project, and the initial stages are, whilst the results aren't there, we still have a lot of hope moving forward, and that's kind of my analogy at this current time. And I know I've whittled on a little bit about that, but
No, good to
yeah,
hear, mate.
it's I think it's important that people realise that we are um, happy with the progress that Steve and the guys have made, and we look forward to hopefully reaping the rewards of that on the pitch soon, especially come this Saturday. How about yourself?
Yeah, mate. Honestly, obviously, I'm a little bit more involved than I was last season, so I
Yeah,
see it from a couple of different perspectives. Steve's kind of let me into the inner circle, if you like. I'm kind of helping out more than I was last year, like at training and on match days. But here's the main thing for me, just purely as a football fan and someone that's like watched this football club over the last couple of years. There isn't many football teams up and down the land where you can probably lose 95% of last season's squad. For whatever reason, hey, look,
mm,
players have gone and they've gone on to do better things, they think they've gone on to do better things, and that's
mm-hmm.
that's all kudos to them. You know what I mean? No one at
Yeah,
any level, you're not going to stop any of the previous lads going to try and bet themselves, play higher or play at the same step, and but at a different club, like that's Harry Bowman. I'm still good friends with him and his dad,
yeah,
and etc. etc. There's not many clubs though at that level that you could literally tear up an entire team and then get in a whole new group of players and expect it to be just hit the ground running and boom, we win. Yeah,
yeah,
we win games. And don't get me wrong, it would have been great if we could have hit the ground, but we haven't really, apart from Ellsbury Dynamos away. I haven't really walked off the pitch and gone, wow, we've been absolutely annihilated
Outclassed,
here,
yeah.
outclassed, outbattled, outperformed. Yeah, there's different things in different games where, as every game of football, you possibly could do better. But going back to my point is this entire club was ripped from the core,
Mm.
and we pretty much had to start again. So Steve, getting his first management role, had to recruit some players, had to recruit some young players, had to recruit some players that might not have played at this level. He's recruited some players that have played at this level, and we are a work in progress.
Mm.
But what I can say for the group that we've got, I can speak for the management team and the players, is you're not going to find many a harder working group of
Mm.
management and players at this level. The commitment, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure teams up and down the land, I'm just speaking from what I see as a Dunstable Town employee, I suppose, kind of, but I can't tell you the amount of hard work that goes on behind the scenes. That's from the management, that's from the players' commitment. That's absolutely everything. I mean, I could go into what goes into the training sessions that
Mm.
Steve, Rich, Liam, Swanee, Rory, what they all put into, and just a training session. When I get there at like 5:15 on a Thursday, Steve's probably been there, got a couple of hours already. Swanee's probably living there. He gets there at like 9 o'clock in the bloody morning, knowing him. They're so, everything is down to a minor detail. So it is a work in progress, but I'm immensely proud of the way that we've handled the adversity at the start of the season, because we were getting a lot of BS thrown at us on social media. I mean, I'm kind of used to it when you log on to the Talk of the Town
Mm.
Twitter. We all know there's some keyboard warriors out there, and they'll probably reply to that statement I've just made now. But I'm immensely proud of our young squad, of how they've handled that. I've been in the change rooms, and they know at the start of the season it wasn't good enough. But what they didn't do, they didn't just go, well, this isn't maybe for me, I'm gone. I'll go back and I'll play like a step 6 or step 7. They've stayed, they've fought, they've trained, they've worked, they've listened, and slowly but surely the performances have improved.
Yeah.
Apart from Ellsbury Vale, we haven't, like I said, we haven't been outplayed. I haven't stood there on the sidelines or sitting on the bench and gone, oh my God, this is absolutely awful. These group of young players have gone, do you know what? All right, we'll roll up our sleeves. We'll take the criticism. And Steve said countless times after games when we might have just narrowly lost by the odd goal in there, he's like, look, I can only do so much. A good point is Little Oakley away in the FA Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Steve literally, from where we were then to where we are now, the Little Oakley away, he even said himself, and Liam said himself, it was him and Liam there on the day, just to give you a little insight. And they pretty much had to coach the whole game from the sidelines. Never heard a manager and a coach have to coach 90 minutes of football.
Mm-hmm.
And, Steve let them know it at half time. We all did. Liam did, myself, and we come out second half and we played well. Admittedly, we got knocked out of the FA Cup. That's by the by.
Mm-hmm.
But it was that moment and after that game that I really saw this team go, do you know what? We are a good football team. We've just been dumped out of the FA Cup. These fans have travelled a long way to watch us. We haven't put in the performance that we wanted. But from then to where we are now, I'm immensely proud of what these players have done, because, like I said, they could have easily gone, This is too much for us. We're not gonna do it. We're not here to. We don't get paid enough to take the amount of abuse. I mean, I don't know how much they read of it, to be honest. But then you look at FC Romania away, you look at Biggleswade away. Not many people give us a chance going into any of them games.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got the win at FC Romania, and thoroughly deserved win, may I add, absolutely dominated the game from the first whistle to
Agreed.
the last. To a man, I thought we were superb. That, for me, that performance had been coming. Because, like I said to Stephen in his post-games interviews, we just couldn't quite put 90 minutes together. For whatever reason, we might have played well for 25. We might have played
Mm-hmm.
well for half an hour. We just couldn't put 90 minutes together. And FC Romania away, bam, everything clicked. Everything clicked. May scored a good goal. Luca,
Mm-hmm.
what a player he's turning into. By the way, as many of the young lads are. You have to forget some of these lads have just come up from the college game,
Yeah.
now stepping into. People might say, "Oh, it's only step 5," but you've gone from playing in front of one man and his dog to 250, 300 people. You've only got to look at Harpenden last night, which we'll get to in a minute. And then you go to Biggleswade. Matt, me and you have been to Biggleswade many times.
Yeah, I've never seen us win there, mate.
Never seen us win there, and we went there, and that is probably one of the, one of the hardest working games I think we've put in so far. My God, did we have to put in a shift there? And I'm standing on the sidelines. I think I was standing with Steve Lewitton and Nick watching that game. And for me, that was a light bulb moment in that game as well, because it clicked, and we went up, we scored early. They come back into it late on, and we knew they were going to throw pressure at us. But this remember, we went to Biggleswade last season under Joe Deeney, and I think we were 4-0 down after 20 minutes on a Tuesday
Yeah,
night,
got
something like
battered,
that.
mate. Yeah.
Absolutely battered beyond
Mhm.
belief. And I interviewed Joe after the game, and he was absolutely livid. So I never have good memories of Biggleswade. So for me, mate, we're getting there. We
Mhm.
really are getting there. It's going to be a process. I've said this. I was speaking to Julian Nutley a couple of weeks ago. I think I was with him at one of the under-18 games on a Sunday. I was just having a chinwag with him on a Sunday. And like you just pointed out, this isn't a 2-week process. For me, this potentially could be a 2-year, 3-year process.
Mhm.
You've got to rebuild a club from the ground up. You've got to get these players integrated into the Step 5 football. And they're more than in it now. They're more than in it. We're getting to the Harpenden game in a minute. But these group of lads, honestly, Matt, I go back to what I said at the start there. They're working tirelessly, mate. They're
Mhm.
working tirelessly. And they're good lads. They're good players. Yeah, it took us a while to find our feet, and we've had to put up with the normal knobheads on Twitter and stuff like that. But inside our camp, we've never doubted it.
Mm.
Never doubted it. Yeah, we've had words, and so you should in any if like any football team. You're a Liverpool fan. If Liverpool look at you lost to Nottingham Forest at the weekend, do
Yeah.
you think they didn't sit there and have words? Tottenham lost to Arsenal. Any level of football that you go, there's always people in the change room who go, "Hey, look, come on, lads." What I'm seeing out these group of young lads that we've got is real leaders are showing now. Obviously, we've got Joe Hankins as our captain. You got Jamie. There's loads of people that are stepping up to the plate and going, "Hey, this isn't good enough for Dunstable Town," and that's what they've done. And I'm rambling on a little bit here, but that's just from my two pennyworth worth from what I've seen inside the camp as a fan, as someone that's been doing the podcast and the media work, etc. These boys will get it right.
Mhm.
We've just got to give them the time to do it, and it ain't going to be a quick fix. We will have bumps like we did last night at Harpenden when we lost 3-1 down at Creasy Park last night. I'm not going to say to you that's not going to happen again this season. I hope it doesn't, but I'm realist. I'm a
Mm.
realist. Now, I can see that these boys could go on a win 4 or 5 games in a row. They could lose a couple of games in a row. Ain't going to be for the want of trying. It ain't going to be for the want of them going, hey, look, we're at Dunstable Town now. This is what this football club is about. Joe set a standard last year. I think Steve and Swanee and Liam and Rory and these guys are now going to take that on to the next level. The
Mhm.
standard set is, it's run differently from what it was last season. I'll admit that. But I'm absolutely loving what Steve and the boys are doing, mate. And I just think we have to be very, very patient. I said it's on my Washington podcast when we do it. Patience isn't a word that football fans like.
Mm.
No matter what any sport you watch, football, you watch rugby, you watch cricket, you watch the NFL like I do, you've got to be patient, mate. So I just wanted to get that message across to the fans, because you probably only see a little bit of it on a Saturday, and you yourself and we all scroll through social media, and we've had to take a little bit of a barrage. So I do want to stick up for these boys a little bit, and I'm proud of what we've done at Biggleswade and
Mhm.
FC Romania. And yeah, last night was a little blip, mate. But we go again. We're still in the cup on Saturday, and we'll be more than all right. I'm more than confident, mate.
Yeah, I mean, when you think as well, you obviously talk about the journey so far this season, and how young some of these players are, the progress so far that they've made. I mean, I look at JJ Kenner. Okay, he
Oh,
had a bit of a battle last night against, I think it was Plowright on the left hand side, but the lad's 17 years old. I think he played at. I was told he played at London Colney last season, so he's
mhm.
used to the men's game. But yeah, he's come on leaps and bounds just from the very first training session I saw him at. Even Joe Hankins, I'll talk a little bit about him because obviously he hasn't hit the back of the net until last night, which, considering he has been able to score double figures pretty much constantly since he's been in the Spartan, yeah, he hasn't been able to hit that sort of levels that he wanted. And just a couple of minutes on last night, you could see a sort of a more of a brightness in compared to the start of the season. And again, that's because he's working with new players and new teammates. Lewis Smith, my God, that player is on the ball. He's just
I think he's still running.
leaps and
Rumor has it
bounds.
he's still running around Creasy. I don't think he stops running, that boy.
Yeah, and just a quick word on Ethan Golden as well. So obviously, I realise that we didn't win last night, and we didn't win against Sheffield on Saturday. But the balls he was pinging in that first half against Sheffield, he was absolutely ripping their defence to shreds. It's great to see, and all these players. I mean, Lewis and Ethan, they didn't start the season with us from the very first game. So these guys have come in. Obviously, we've brought another person in that I remember well from the step 3 and step 4 days in a row. We've got some good players that have come in since the beginning, and we've got a great group of lads from the very start that are here for the right reason, and that's what we want. People here for the right reason. Do we want to get promoted this season? Yes. Do we still believe we can get promoted this season? Absolutely. Because until it's physically impossible for us to reach the playoffs or win the league, I will keep banging that drum that I still have hope, still have the belief.
Do you think, let's get on to, we can touch on Sheffield actually, briefly. I wasn't at Sheffield. I was over in the States watching the mighty Washington Commanders. How did you find Saturday? I've watched a little bit of it back on the VO. Had a very good first 20 minutes. The game could have been over in 20 minutes from the bits I could make out from what I was watching.
Honestly.
First half, we could have easily been out of sight. And that, again, that could come back to a little bit. I'm not going to use the words inexperience because it's not. These lads know how to play football. Maybe just when it's not running for you in a certain game, that game, that happened for us in Romania. We put our chances away and we went 2-0 up and it was all very good. And we took our chances. Sheffield seemed from what I could see only watching, obviously I wasn't there. You'll be able to tell me more. If we had taken the chances in the first half, that game would have been out of sight.
It would have been outside, and I was talking to the social guy from Sheffield who agreed with the same analogy as us. The bottom line is we could have put them to the sword on in the first half. We obviously went in. You never really want to go in 1-0, if I'm being honest with you. You kind of want that second goal just before half time. And to be fair to Sheffield, I mean, whilst that I realised they were bottom when they played us, if anybody thinks they're going to go to Sheffield and just turn them over, you've got another thing coming, mate, because they are a good football team.
Yeah, they gave us a good game last season, didn't they? We had to get a penalty right near the end, and Connor was injured, but
yeah. And whilst they've had to rebuild this season because obviously Kane's gone to Biggleswade, the players that have remained and the ones that have come through, there's a few under 18s in that team who also play in their under 18s team. And they are more than good enough to be playing at Spartan level. But yeah, so the 20 minutes after the second half, again, they really challenged us and potentially could have gone 3-2 up again themselves. But what I liked about the performance from the lads is the fact that you could have easily seen heads drop after we went 2-1 down, but they didn't, and they carried on, bit between their teeth. That we need to show that we are better than what the result is showing, and they pulled it out of the bag, and arguably could have won the game at the end, but for a really good save by Khan, their keeper, who is, in my opinion, lucky to have been on. So if you watch the highlights after Lucas scores his our second goal, he lashes out at him and completely missed by the officials. And I haven't spoken about officials in the past this season, so I'm going to just have my 2 seconds on that. I couldn't believe they missed that. It was so obvious, and when two of them are looking at each other like, oh, have you seen that? Have you seen that? It was like, come on. But as I say, of course he was going to pull out a worldy bloody save after he shouldn't have even been on the pitch. But yeah, I mean, on it to kind of say that we deserved the win, judging on the first half performance, I would have said, yeah, absolutely. After the performance that Sheffield put in the second half, probably a draw was the right result in that. I think they'll be okay this season. I can't see them going down. I look forward to not having to go back to Sheffield. And the one thing I did find strange about that town is I don't think I've ever seen Sheffield bathed in sunshine to the point of I
know.
don't think
the one game I missed there, I froze my nuts off there the last few seasons. The one game I missed is bloody scorching hot.
I brought my coat, had me tracksuit bottoms on rather than my shorts. I sweated my absolute nuts off, mate. But so I've never known it so warm up there. But yeah, it was they're good people up there. Yeah, they'll be fine. It's another point to the overall haul, and yeah, it's probably the right result overall. But either team could have easily picked up the 3 points and probably not been that fast. Well, not fast, but not argued too much that they had lost the game. It was kind of one of those games. It was back and forth. But in my opinion, move on. And then, obviously, unfortunately, not the greatest game result-wise against Harpenden. Again, last night the players played well on the main again. But yeah, it's just really unfortunate to lose last night. What's your views on that?
Yeah, I mean, last night was a frustrating game for me because it's not the performance the lads would have wanted to put in. I was in the change room at half time, I was in there at full time. I know for a fact it's not the performance they would. We had moments last night, whereas in previous weeks we've dominated games. We left our moments too late. If you look at the last 15 to 20 minutes, we had moments there. We had a couple in the first half. For whatever reason, we just didn't really seem to get going, like properly going last night. We had spurts where I'm thinking, right, here we go. We're on it now. And, when we got the goal back near the end and, full credit to Harpen for hanging on because over recent weeks, they've been giving away leads like left, right and centre. So fair play to them for hanging on. But yeah, for me, it was just a very bitty game. We just we didn't create enough. I didn't think last night, obviously me and you sit here, anyone watching this, me and you sit here recording this on a Wednesday evening. Didn't create enough. We didn't test their keeper enough. And, we'd gotten over that. We had that at the start of the season. Steve made the point of like, we're not creating enough. We're kind of getting there to the box and it's just petering out. Last night, it was all very huff and puff and we couldn't quite blow the house down. And yeah, for me, it was just a frustrating game. And I don't know it was for the boys. I don't think we played particularly bad, to be honest. There's no one out there where I go, oh, you had a shocker. There wasn't really any players on the pitch. I just harpened and took their chances. Right, conceding early didn't help, and we've made a point of that. And Steve's banged on to the lads, whether that's at the start of the second half, we went for a little rut of conceding. Don't concede early, just keep it tight. The yada, 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 the same old adage. But we conceded really early last night. And then, Harpen obviously got their tails up. Then you find yourself 2-0 down. At the start, was it start of the second half we went to? No,
Just before the second,
just before half time, and you're thinking, Jesus Christ. But fair play to the lads. Steve come in at half time and he said, "Hey, look, some games you look at 2-0 and you're kind of out of it. We're not out of this game. Harpen have thrown leads away recently, so we come out and we give it a good go second half. That's what I really liked about us. We've kind of got that now, the never give up mentality, which is what I think we need. Which I think will come even more. And once you put that never give up mentality into the skill that we've got, a la Biggleswade away, we had both. We went ahead and we played really well. Then they really come at us and threw the kitchen sink at us, and we had to stay really strong. Last night when it went back to 3-1, you're thinking, all right, there's probably about 5 or 6 minutes left. You never know. And then we had a great shot. I can't remember who it was. The ball went across the box. And I thought it was going to be a tap in at the far post. I can't remember who it was now. And if that had gone in 3-2 with 3 minutes to go, it's a different story, mate. So yeah, for me, like it was more frustrating last night because do you know what I did like about last night? No, Steve didn't make a point of it. Oh, it's Harpenden. Oh, it's some managers do that. Oh, it's like not once, not once in the team talk before the game, half time, nothing. He was purely focused. It's a game of football. Some people can get whole caught up in that. Oh, here's my ex-players. Here's my, I used to work for this guy. Yada, yada, yada. There was none of that. We prepared for the game. We give it our best and we come up short. And it is what it is, really. No gripes about any of the lads out there last night. They all give it a go. Could have played better in certain aspects, and I'm still knowing Steve, I know him. He's probably watched that game back about 7 times already on the VO. Swanee's probably got a million tactics boards everywhere. Rich will analyse it to death as well. As will all these boys, mate. So it's just frustrating last night, but we move on to our good old friends at Tring.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I do want to say about last night. The one player that I thought was the difference between the two teams was Danny Webb, and it pays me to say that because obviously I didn't want to see him in a Harp shirt. But yeah, his pace was a lot to have to contend with, and obviously he had 2 assists. Arguably, could we have placed him to his weaker foot rather than let him allow him to place it on his dominant foot to put Anthony and Hillary in. But yeah, it's good to see him starting to get some good games under his belt, because I don't think he had the best season. Whilst he was our top goal scorer last season, I think even he admits it wasn't his greatest season. So it's nice to see him starting to deliver on the pitch in terms of, in what I see his best position out on the side.
Mm.
Yeah, but beyond that, I mean, yeah, they've got some good players. One or two bench warmers that come on right at the end.
Yeah, who was the big lad? 14, don't know who he was. Alfie something? I
um,
don't know who he was.
but yeah, they're a good lot of people down at Harpenden. So I'm not going to begrudge them a win, as much as it pains me to say it. But
Yeah.
yeah, as you say, we move on to Saturday, and
Yeah, was it Vars on Saturday?
another friendly team coming to town,
Yeah,
and yeah.
Tring on Saturday, mate. Let's quickly touch on it. I'm not around this Saturday. I'm punishing my daughter. It's her birthday. I'm taking her to watch Tottenham play Brentford.
I've
Yeah,
given her the childline number. I'll keep on
yeah,
giving.
I know, mate. She really wants to go, so I'm not around this Saturday. But let's have a. We owe these lot. I remember there was the cup game of Sunday a couple of
It
seasons
was,
ago.
yeah, 3-1. Yeah, good luck.
3-1 on a great run of form. But always a
Yep,
good game against Tring. Never
it
a
is. Yeah.
dull moment, mate. What are you thinking as we go into this weekend?
Well, we're going to win, obviously.
There we go. That's done. Thanks
That
for
was
tuning
easy.
in, everyone. See you next week.
Yeah, as you say, Tringer, yeah, a good unit, managed by a really sound bloke in Ryan Sturge. Yeah, as much as I like Ryan and I've got a lot of time for Ryan, I want us to get that win. It'd be interesting to see who we put in the centre midfield. Obviously, with Lewis Smith banned for the game for taking one for the team last Saturday, but yeah, as long as we stick together, stick to our game plan. I hope that we do come out still in the hat on Monday morning. Tring, again, they haven't had the greatest of starts, but they are starting to pick up a couple of results. But saying that, and I'm not wanting to jinx it, but they do seem to have a bit of a soft underbelly. So they were 3-0 up against Winslow last night, and Winslow are a good team, as we found out. But Winslow come back to draw 3-3, so that does say to me that there is some opportunities that we have at the back to exploit. So hopefully we'll be able to find them. Whether Arel plays, fingers crossed he's fit enough and ready to rock and roll, because a free scorer in Arel could be the difference for us this season. As I say, I saw him at step 4. I still to this day believe that if Joe Deeney hadn't nicked him to play for Hemel Hempstead, we would still be a step 4 team now. So
Bloody Joe Deeney.
bloody Joe Deeney, absolutely. It's all his fault. But yeah, so I have confidence that we'll get the win. But we're going to be backed again by a great crowd, as we always are, especially on a Saturday, especially for a cup match. So I do look forward to seeing a great game against some decent people. But fingers crossed we end up the win. How about yourself?
Yes, mate, pretty much the same. I'll be down at training tomorrow night. We're back down at Creasy Park. So, yeah, I know that Steve and everyone with the park last night, they would analyse the Harpenden, what we did right, what we did wrong, and I can guarantee you their focus will be fully on Saturday. Like I said at the start of the show, mate, you turn up and you see, I'm sure every management team, a lot of them do it, but down to the minutest detail, these boys will do it. You know what I mean? They'll go into absolutely everything. I mean, I think Swanee was analysing peanuts a couple of weeks ago. What was good at half time? Swanee's nuts were out at half time, mate. But yeah, I think we'll be ready. We'll be ready to go. Like I say, local derby, always fun, and games against Tring. Good, decent bunch of people. Good player. Harry Beaumont plays centre mid for them. So the small guy,
Oh yeah,
little guy. Be good to have Harry obviously back at Creasy. Shame I'll miss him myself, but
well, there's quite
yeah,
a lot of old Dunstable town players there, because I've seen, not going to go for him, but obviously Goldie in goal and
yeah.
Harry Shepherd. There's a few that's still there. So
Yeah, there's a few knocking around at Tring, but yeah, it'll be a good game, mate. I'd love to. Hopefully, we come out on top, mate, and the road to. I think the finals played at Wembley, so the road to Wembley Stadium will happen on Saturday, mate. But
fingers
Matty,
crossed.
what else is going on at the club, mate? I know the youth team are in the FA Youth Cup. Is that tomorrow night as we
That's
sit?
right. So we're playing away at Olsey Town. That's I think it's a 7:30 kickoff. I might be wrong, but it might be 7:45.
Okay.
But yeah, we'd love to see some people up watching the under 18s. Who I saw them play North Greenford last week, and that is a special group. Alan's put together a really good group. I'm really looking forward and hoping that we can see some of them make their way into the first team soon. Because there's some really quality players there. Beyond that, though, this Saturday's game is still yet to have a match sponsor. So if anybody's interested in that, please reach out to me via my Twitter handle. And the other thing is we're just about to put out a link because we do have a few players who's still available for player sponsorship. So if you want to sponsor your favourite player, I think people are getting to know them now. So hopefully we'll have a few more people coming forward and want to sponsor their favourite player soon. So again, just reach out to me, reach out to the club. We'll happily link you up with us, and I'll even throw in a couple of free tickets for you.
Stop it. Bit generous today. Well, Matty, it's been good to sit down and do a full show with you. We'll do this again next week. Now I'm not jet setting around the globe.
Next week, I'm thinking a couple of months' time.
Oh, okay. I'll see. We'll reconvene after Christmas. You've got a new microphone, so you might as well let you use it.
Yeah,
mate.
exactly.
But, you can only find this podcast now on YouTube. Absolute nightmare with the audio. The company that I knew basically wanted to charge me an absolute fortune to do it. So the YouTube, we're really trying to push the Dunstable Town YouTube. Brad does an amazing job. Everything's on there. If you want game highlights, post-match, pre-match, everything's on there, whether it be the youth team, whether it be the first team, absolutely everything is on there. So just go on YouTube, type in Dunstable Town FC, click the subscribe button, hit the notification. Really does help us out. We really appreciate everyone that comments and subscribes to this show and all the great work that Brad really does. And James Smith doing with the Twitter, by the way. I just want to give a big shout out to James Smith for what he's doing with the Twitter and the upcoming, the junior regiment, old George and everyone, and all the boys and girls that are doing the Instagram as well. It's absolutely great work. We've got a good bunch of guys. But yeah, big shout out to James. He's newly on board. He's doing all the Twitter and everything like that.
Much better than that previous clown that was on it.
Honestly, I haven't got a Scooby-Doo who he was, but I'm glad he ain't doing it anymore. Apparently, he's doing a podcast now, so I don't know what he's doing. But yes, so this coming, obviously, Thursday, tomorrow night, if you want to go and see the youth team, go and check them out. This Saturday, we are at home, Creasy Park, 3 p.m. kickoff against Tring in the FA Bars. Please do come down and give the lads as much support as you can. I know they really do appreciate playing in front of the Dunstable fans. And then I think that's it for a week. And we are following Saturday. Are we London Lions away?
Sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah, I might be guessing there, but I want to say London Lions away. But you can check this podcast out at DTFC Pod on Twitter, also on Facebook. Just type in Talk of the Town Podcast. And that's where you can find us. Obviously, go and search for at Dunstable Town FC on Twitter as well, where Matty and James are doing an absolute tremendous job. But this has been this week's edition of the Talk of the Town podcast. I've been your host, Andy Burrows. That has been the one and only Mr. Matty Carrington. Till next time, everybody, up the mighty Blues.